Hello, everyone. You're listening to Game Rivals, a podcast where a Nintendo fan and a PlayStation fan talk about the latest games and happenings in the gaming community and industry. I'm one of your hosts, Maximilian X, and together with SeanTemplar, we bring you this bi-weekly podcast about video games.
Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of the Game Rivals. Today I'm here with my mighty fine friend, Maximilian X. How are you doing, my friend? It's been so long.
Hey, SeanTemplar, yeah, it's been a while. Actually a bit shorter since last time we recorded a little bit late, but yeah, I actually haven't seen you in quite a while. I'm good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you for asking. And I think you're going to be even better once we start talking about our first segment, because
Yeah.
I know you're all excited to amaze everybody about Nintendo Direct, which was, I believe, last week.
Yeah, it was the day before Valentine's Day, the 13th.
Oh, nice.
Local time here, 11 p.m. So, Europe, for those who are wondering. Yeah, we had a Nintendo Direct dropped on us. Like, I think 48 hours before it actually dropped, we got an announcement. And, I mean, there were already rumblings and rumors, and basically this has been a long time coming since there were already rumblings and rumors that we were going to get a Nintendo Direct in January. That fell through, mostly because of the delay of Metroid Prime 4. So, yeah, this Nintendo Direct has been a long time coming, and, well, the general consensus on the internet was this is a really good Direct, and I tend to have to agree with them on this one. I mean, there were some slow points in there, but like the overall Direct was good. Was this, by the way, your first time watching a Direct, or like at least live?
I've never watched the Direct, and this is the first one, so I really had no idea what to expect.
Yeah, and since Sony doesn't do stuff like this, you're missing out on really good stuff. But you missed.
I think Sony does better stuff than this, but differences of opinion, I guess.
Well, to be fair, we haven't had like a presentationally wise really fun Direct since Iwata died. Rest in peace, Iwata.
Is there a reason why they switched to because they've been doing this for a couple of years now?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why they switched to this format instead of just doing the big E3 press conference once a year or Tokyo Game Show stuff?
A few reasons come to mind. I mean, the official line is, of course, that they want to be able to connect directly to the fans in a more frequent way instead of like just waiting for E3 and letting it all out then and then basically having nothing for most of the year. Now they can strategically announce stuff. So you have like these regular Directs, but sometimes when a game is going to come out and it's a high profile game, they'll have like a mini Direct specifically for that game or multiple ones leading up to the game's launch. Like, for example, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate had I think at least 3 of its own Directs that were specifically for that. And
wow.
Even like with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, they did the same thing. They did the same thing for... I don't think they did the same thing for Breath of the Wild. They did do the same thing for... Oh, what's the last time they did something like this? They did the same thing for that spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei that came out for Wii U. Leading up to that point, they had like mini Directs for that as well. Back when Mario Kart 8 was coming out, they had mini Directs leading up to that as well, and so on and so on. But basically, the format has changed since they started doing it because it used to be presented by Awada-san, the then president of Nintendo Limited. And then when he passed away, they spent a lot of time retooling it and seeing what fits best. So now we're in this place where they'll highlight some big games, and in between that they'll have news clips of other like smaller games in between. So that's basically what the structure is has been for some time now, except for when they do it for E3, that's when they change it up a bit. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And the person that was presenting it, was he is he the current CEO, or was he like a
No,
producer or game developer or?
he's the what you say? Yeah, he's the producer of the Switch. So basically, he
Okay.
was I guess
A
you
bit
would
like what Mark Cerny is for the PlayStation, maybe.
exactly, yeah. But he's been with the
Okay.
company for forever. So
Okay.
so yeah, he was this time he was the one that helmed the hardware project. And uh, yeah, I mean, he's cool. Like the reveal event for Switch, he was the guy that announced it, along with then President Kimishima, who retired like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he had like this really cool like inter. How should I call it? So when they showed off the Joy Cons and what it could do, specifically the HD Rumble, they made it look like he was doing this like magic show and had all these cool special effects. And dude, honestly, after this, I'm gonna send you at least that part so that you can see it, because it's amazing. That's the
Okay, I'm
level of
curious.
presentation that we used to get from directs. Now it's kind of just more, get to it, get to the games, which is great. And we're gonna get into the games because, oh boy, this direct was so good. I don't even know where to start. You know what? Let's start at the beginning, and then we're gonna go through that, and you can tell me like how you thought, what you thought of each game. So let's start with the first one, Super Mario Maker 2. Like, they started off hard, they started off good. They showed off immediately. The first thing that a lot of people were complaining about, including myself, was missing from the first game: slopes. You could not make slopes in the first game. Now you can make slopes. So now you can have ups and downs that are like in a rhythm, so you can keep momentum through your stages.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, because you
I didn't play the first one, but like I saw the trailer for Super Mario Maker 2, and I like, okay, this looks nice. It kind of reminded me a bit of Little Big Planet, but
but better.
it's of course something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because Little Big Planet was a 2D platformer that used 3D assets. This is pure 2D platformer.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, right off the bat, because the rumors have been going around since the Switch got announced that there would be a Mario Maker 2. But there's still like a ton of questions about Mario Maker 2 that we don't have the answer to. So, for example, one key point of Mario Maker was that it used Miiverse, the social media platform that Nintendo made specifically for Wii U and 3DS, which doesn't exist anymore. It's just gone. They retired it after the Switch launched, and I think it was before this. No, after the Switch launched. Yeah, and the the reason why that was a big blow to that game specifically is because when you share a level of Mario Maker, you can actually comment on the level, you can like it, you can share it through Miiverse. And now that's gone, so we don't know how that's going to work with Nintendo Switch Online. Hopefully they found a way around that, because it would be really disappointing if they didn't. But yeah, that trailer was like dope. I like, I
Nice.
don't know. It's just it was awesome. It was awesome. I'm really
Okay.
hoping I'm really hoping though that they add more, because they already added something else other than like new tiles and new enemies. They also added what is it called again? Oh, they added new Super Mario 3D World like assets from the Wii game. So I'm actually kind of hoping that they add stuff like 3D from the Game Boy game. So like not necessarily Super Mario Land, but Super Mario Land 2. Uh, what else? No, not Super Mario Land 3, because that was just Wario Land.
Will the game get any downloadable content, or is that like not a structure they will pursue?
Well, the last game used amiibos to do that, and they did update the game with more assets. But other than that, I don't know. I think we have to wait until July to find out. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, yeah. What do you think of it? I mean, you haven't played one yet.
Yeah. Like I've never played these games before. What the first one was on the Wii or
The Wii U.
the Wii U?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it really looked fun, and it's cool to see like that it had like a 2D kind of Mario, but also like a 3D kind of Mario.
Yeah.
So like different styles of Mario games.
Yeah, you can change those on the fly, by the way. While you're editing,
Oh, that's
you
nice.
can change from
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario World to Super Mario Brothers 3. In the previous game, it was New Super Mario Brothers, but it looks like they either changed that to Super Mario 3D World or they added Super Mario 3D World as an option. So I'm not 100% sure on that. Hopefully, we'll find out about it as we head into E3. But yeah, that was awesome because you can start making a level as a Super Mario Brothers level, 8-bit, and then just click on a button in the interface, click on New Super Mario Brothers, it'll instantly switch to that. All the assets
nice.
change. The assets that didn't exist in that game will be like transformed into an asset that did exist in the other game.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's really cool, especially now because they have the freaking sun from Super Mario Brothers 3. You can troll so many people with that thing. Can't wait for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see like I have a list in front of me with a lot of other games as well. So, are there some of the games I know, some of the games I don't know.
Yeah.
There are some names on it in which I thought like, okay, so this is finally coming to the Switch.
Well, which one?
For example, Grid Auto Sport, which is I believe a PlayStation 3 game.
You sure about
I
that?
was I can remember it was made by Codemasters, and I can remember that it came out last gen, I believe, and I was kind of surprised to see it pop up on the Switch. Like, okay, this is a cash grab, I think.
No.
I believe I believe the game's even been brought to like, yeah, it's like racing video game developed by Codemasters, available for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. Linux and other platforms.
When did this come out then?
24 June 2014.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean that at least that.
This is what I mean
No,
with like cash grabs.
but hang on. At least that game looked decent. Assassin's Creed 3 looked hella bad in that presentation.
Well, I don't. I've seen
it looked hella bad. Like it was
PlayStation
chuggy.
footage.
Come on.
Yeah, but like the PlayStation footage looks fine.
Dude,
in this case, it could be like a limitation of the.
I
of the
have
Switch.
that game on Wii U. It runs better on that.
Okay.
Come
Well,
on.
then it's maybe
It
the
runs
case of
better on Wii
optimization.
than the footage. Maybe it was the footage. I don't know. But it looked terrible.
It looked bad.
That looks like a cash grab, especially since
Dead
it got announced for the other platforms in January, and now they're announcing it for Switch.
Yep. But like another game which looked really bad was Dead by Daylight. It really looked like a PS2 game. When I saw it, I was like, okay, wow, this is. I think this would. Yeah.
So
I'm not even gonna bother. You know.
Okay, but to be fair, one, it's an indie title, and two, it was out on PC. I haven't looked up the PC.
It's also available on PlayStation.
Well, have you played it on
You
PlayStation?
got it for free. Yeah, like I played it once or twice. It's like you got it free with
Did it look?
PlayStation Plus, I believe.
Yeah.
It looked a lot better than this.
Okay, then that means that they. But it's coming out in October, so maybe this is early footage.
Yeah, but like for example, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is another game that's coming. They showed in this.
That looked
direct,
great.
and that really looks nice.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit surprised about like the big difference, the big contrast between the way certain games look, and then I wonder like, is it a case of them not wanting to put in the effort, or is it an optimization thing, or is it
Like it has,
but
it has to be like the developers on that one, right? So I mean, mostly because here's the thing, because Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a Ninja Theory game, and we all know
which
that
is now owned by Microsoft.
exactly. So what?
It's kind of cool that Microsoft allows it though.
Well, that's the thing, because Ninja Theory published that game themselves, so that means that they flat out own the rights to that, regardless if they're owned by Microsoft or not. So the question is, were they given permission to publish on Switch or not? That's the real question. Maybe they had this. Maybe had they had this project going for months before they even got acquired by Microsoft. It is a possibility. I'm just saying. So maybe that's the route that it went, and that's why it's coming out now. Who
Well,
knows?
like Minecraft is also available on the Switch, I believe,
Yeah, but that's just more
and
that.
it's also
But
available on
that's
the
more than
PlayStation.
Microsoft flexing their muscles. I feel.
Yeah, but like I think that, and that's funny. Like, that maybe doesn't completely related to this, but it's funny to see that like the Microsoft we have today is a Microsoft which is like this pro. Hey, we just want to play with everybody and we just want to share our stuff with everybody because we believe that by sharing our stuff with everybody, everybody gets happier. And in the end, it's about being happy in the biz instead of making the most money in the biz, which I personally think is like a whole load of crap because they lost this generation. So it's their like excuse to say like, oh, but cross-platform play, we encourage that because then we can share stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if they were in the first place, they never would have encouraged it. They'd say like, no man, we don't want to because we want people to play it on Xbox because that's the best place to play.
Yeah, but
instead of Sony
Microsoft is
saying that
playing.
right now.
Like, here's the thing. Yes, they essentially finished second in this generation, but you have to realize that they're getting prepped and ready to move on to the next generation. This is the long game because what they have in store, because when they said, let's go back to 2013 when they announced the Xbox One and they were all about cloud computing and cloud gaming and Connect, but who cares? Um,
Xbox on.
the one thing that they have been like serious about constantly is the whole cloud gaming thing. I mean, like,
Which we're finally
do you
seeing
need
with Crackdown 3.
no, but no, not Crackdown 3. I'm talking about availability of games. Like, if you even look at games for Xbox, or sorry, Games Pass. Why did I say games for Xbox?
Game Pass, yeah.
If you look at games, like the way Games Pass works, that is what they're going for. That is the direction that they want to go with, and you're gonna see that in their next gen console, especially if you like listen to all the rumors about that. It's gonna like that's the way they're going for, and the only way you can go forward with that is if you embrace cross-platform play. So, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, like I understand that cross-platform play is something that is like we can't live without it anymore. It's something that's just going to become more important.
someone
and
tell
more,
that to
like,
Sony, please.
yeah, we know. But like the funny thing is that um, the way they're kind of like encouraging it, or the way they're kind of like bringing out the messaging, is like they're really playing in on that Sony is the bad guy in this case, and that they are not. Whereas like they would have done the same thing if they were in the lead, because the last generation they were like the roles have been opposite. I've mentioned this before. Sony is now Microsoft of the previous generation, and Microsoft is Sony of the previous generation. So like they've completely flipped the roles, you know.
Yeah, but
we're,
that's
like
but
going
come on,
into
that's
the-
not enough because, like, of all companies, Nintendo is in on the crossplay thing, and Sony isn't. Of all
But I
the
think for
companies,
Nintendo, it's
like
more of a relevancy
Nintendo,
thing. They're
the
like-
family-friendly company, is about crossplay. Really?
Yeah, but it's
Come
because
on.
of relevance. Because like, Nintendo has always done its own thing.
Yeah,
So they're,
exactly.
like,
Thank
doing
you.
whatever
Exactly
they wanna
that.
do.
Exactly that. So like,
But
them
now
doing crossplay
this is
is
like a
weird,
small
right?
thing to do.
It should
For
be
them,
weird.
It's like, if we support crossplay, you know, we've never taken a stance on it. We encourage playing with friends or family. That's why we have the Joy Cons. So it naturally fits within in their philosophy, because they are already kind of like trying to bring people together, and this way they can see it like, hey, you know what? Let's just. It doesn't take us a lot of effort. It doesn't take us a lot of money. We don't care about revenue in a way that Sony does, because, you know.
Yeah, but if you ask
we make our own stuff.
But if you ask the developer in the 80s or 90s about Nintendo's like practices when it comes to game publishing, they would totally say like that the Nintendo from then would not make the decisions that the Nintendo of now is making anyways.
Well, and I think that like part of that is because of changed leadership. I mean, like Iwata-san did amazing stuff for the company, but since he passed away, God rest his soul, I mean, like it has opened Nintendo up for other things, like Nintendo's moving into mobile, and
Yeah,
I
but
think
that
it
was a
wouldn't
move
have.
that was already started by him. He
I know, but
spearheaded
I
that
don't.
before he passed on.
I know, but like it feels like that it's more it's opening up to more Western stuff. It's focusing more on including Western stuff instead of just saying like we're a Japanese company, we make Japanese stuff, and the world will just have to accept the way we make things, and that's it. You know, and it feels like they're changing with the times instead of just forging their
Well,
own path and then saying like, oh, we'll do what we want to do because that's what
but
we've been doing for a
but
hundred
but
years.
again, that's also one of the things I want to spearheaded before he passed away, which is opening up the company to more opportunities. Hence, stuff like Nintendo Directs, and hence stuff presentations like this, because to him, he realized that just relying on what they've been doing for the past 30 years was not enough. They have all these IPs, and they weren't doing anything with them except making games and the occasional uh, toy or whatever that they would occasionally bring out. Because and he realized that they needed to branch out more. It's the reason why we have the movie, the Mario movie with Illumination. Ugh. And the thing that I'm
Is
way
there a
more,
Mario movie?
yeah, it's in the works by the guys that made Minions. The less we
Oh
talk
my
about, the less we
god.
talk about that, the better. But
Oh my
basically,
god.
they're working on that. They're working on the theme parks with Universal. They're doing, for example, as we come back to where we've been talking about the direct. Starlink Battle for Atlas has exclusive content on the Switch with Star
I know.
Fox. And they are adding more Star Fox stuff. Dude, this is the Star Fox game that people have been jonesing for years. Especially since
Why
Star
just done that?
Fox
Why
Star
not
Fox Zero
rename it
wasn't
to
a,
Star Fox?
honestly.
Just like they did with the Rayman and the rabbits
On,
and the
look,
Mario.
honestly, at this point, they might as well, because people, like, at least from what I've heard, people really dig it, and it looks awesome. But I'm like this close to just like going to like my local game store and picking up a copy of that game, because with that content coming up in April, I'm like, okay, that that, and the fact that it also comes with an R ring that you can like build and stuff, it's kind of awesome. Yeah, I think I may have to dip my toe into the Starlink pool
I'm
for
kind
that
of
one.
surprised you haven't already, but
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, but I don't know. The whole Toys to Life genre is, so I don't know.
okay,
But
okay.
with all this content, I feel like now I have to try it. Plus, it's like in most places it's like discounted anyway, so I could probably
Why not
pick
pick
it
it
up
up?
for at least like a decent price. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'll definitely do. I'll look into that sometime soon. But going back to
I
where,
see some other names. Yeah.
yeah, like what?
No, no, like maybe like I'm just seeing this as an outsider, and I think that you might want to shed a little bit more light on some other big names. Some of them I've heard of before, and some of them are like
Like Final
foreign to me, but
Fantasy
might.
9 Shadow Drop. Oh no, wait, sorry. Okay, so apart from like that, actually leads to another thing about this direct. They had a lot of shadow drops. Final Fantasy 9, boom, immediately available that day on Switch. Yoshi's Crafted World had a demo after the presentation, which is awesome because Yoshi's Crafted World is fun, it's lighthearted, it's multiplayer, or sorry, it's
Demon
co-op.
X
The
Machina had it
Damon
as well, I
X
believe.
Machina prototype. Oh my goodness, that game. I've been looking forward to that ever since they announced that. Finally got to play it. You know what they did? What Anthem didn't do with their beta?
Put in a tutorial.
They fucking put in a tutorial. Oh my god, I used. Oh, sorry. Sorry. No, this is not an explicit podcast. Dang it. I'll have to try and censor that. But yes, they put
Maybe
in
bleep that out.
yeah, I'll have to bleep it out. It's okay. I'll edit it in post. But they put in a very simple tutorial just on the screen. This is what these buttons do. You're good. And then some like training missions to like flesh out the more intricate battle stuff, and you're good. You're golden. That game is so good. Like, I mean, there are still things that it needs to be fixed, but um, but they asked like during the direct the director, was it the director? Yeah, the director was like, yeah, we want your feedback. We'll be sending out
A
surveys, which
survey.
apparently people have started receiving those surveys. I haven't, but they're also saying like, please let us know on social media, let us know on Twitter, like what your experience has been, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and we'll take all that feedback and use that stuff. Which is the same thing that Square did when they brought out the demo for Octopath Traveler last year. So,
Oh, that's nice.
so they are actively taking feedback, which is awesome. Other titles of note: the best battle royale game this side of the internet, Tetris 99, best game of all time, goes battle royale, and it's awesome. You actually get to see all the other people that you're playing against, and you can target them. You can take them out with your line garbage. They can take you out with your line garbage. I keep getting targeted by people who take me out with their line garbage. Seriously, like they keep ganging up on me. Like one match, I had like 10 people ganging up on me on the same time, which is unfair.
Maybe those are people that are listening to our podcast and think like, "Hey, let me take a beat at this guy."
No, but you can't see their names. You can only see their boards.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
you
know
can
that.
you can see the game that they're playing,
Yeah,
but you can't see the name attached to it.
but isn't it a bit too crowded that way? Because you can, it's like a
No, because
99
no,
player,
because
a
you're
100
no,
player.
because you're essentially playing multiplayer Tetris, except it's against 98 other people.
But doesn't it like cloud up your screen, or is it like
Nah, nah,
managed properly?
nah. I mean, you have your main board in the center, and then you have an even split of players on either side of your screen, so you can like quickly glance left and right to see like what games are being played, and still
Okay,
have like the focus on your own board. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Tetris, like I'm gonna have to get you to play that because it is awesome. Another thing that they also uh, what else did they shadow drop? So they did Final Fantasy 9, they did Tetris, and they did Yoshi, and they did Daemon X Machina. So those are the things that they shadow drop. But the big pieces in those in the direct were Fire Emblem Three Houses, which they
Yeah.
finally shed some light on that, and that looks really interesting with you being the main character and like being this teacher that that has to choose one of these three houses to teach and essentially bring up. People are calling it basically Harry Potter Fire Emblem
It did
Edition.
kind of look like
It
that.
kind of did, but it looks interesting, and I'm kind of curious. It also kind of reminds me of like Career Chronicles 2, because that one was more like not college, but like academy based, like in that sentence. What else did we talk about? Oh, right. They also showed more information about Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition. The Switch gets the final essay. Yeah. Dragon
Yay.
Quest comes home to roost on Nintendo Switch. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Looks great. Has all the best options because
Japanese voice.
it has the Japanese voices. It has the orchestral and the MIDI soundtrack, so you can choose. Plus, you can switch from HD to 16-bit graphics, which is a feature that they pulled from the 3DS version, which was Japan only. So that's actually cool. Few things also as well. They talked about a new Box Boy, Box Girl puzzle game, really good. Was originally a trilogy on the 3DS, so this is the first Switch game for that, which is cool. And it also has dual co-op play, which is cool. And then the other big thing, Astral Chain from Platinum Games. Like just no, there was zero rumors on that one. Like zero.
Yeah, that was really
Nobody knew
nice.
about
It
that
really
one.
looked
And then
nice.
they
Yeah.
started showing it off. It's like, what is this? Is this Monolith Soft? Is this like the follow
I
up to
thought it was a
Xenoblade?
Square game at first when I saw it.
Really?
Yeah, because I
Maybe.
kind of felt like it matched the style of one of the, kind of like a Final Fantasy game, or like I thought, oh, this is something from Software maybe, or from Square Enix or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really curious about that game. I'm really curious about that game. That's gonna be awesome.
Can
And
I just say that like Dragon Quest Builders, I played that on the PlayStation and I played it on the Switch. I never bought the full game, but like I really had fun playing the demo.
yeah,
And when I saw that the second one is coming to the Switch as well, I was like, okay, this could be cool. This could be like a game that I would want to play on the go. I don't know if people like are excited for that game,
oh,
but
people are excited for
it
that
really look
game.
nice.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
excited for that. It is kind of a shame that it's coming out in the summer, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I played the Japanese demo on my Switch like a couple of months ago, and the gameplay is still solid. So actually, if anything, the gameplay has been like tightened up. The frame rate has definitely been tightened up.
Nice.
So that's good. And last but not least, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. OMG, that game of the year 2019. Calling it right now. Calling it
Is
right
it coming
now.
out this year?
Yeah, it's 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that was the perfect way to end. I've seen grown men and women weep when that game got announced. Weep.
Really?
Like actual, like I saw reaction videos of people, they were like tears of joy coming from their eyes.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna lie, I may have let out a squeal that was very prepubescent when I realized what it
I know
was.
that people did that with when The Last of Us 2 was announced a couple years ago, PlayStation Experience. I saw a reaction video, and I know that people did that as well. So
Yeah,
I
because
kinda-
it's something that,
I know
dude,
how
this
it
game,
feels.
like this game, has been rumored for a long time, and people were thinking like it's gonna come to the 3DS, and now it's on Switch, and it looks so cute and so good, and everybody's just like, and I think it's gonna come out sooner than a lot of people think, even though they gave it like this bold 2019 release date. I think we might actually get it. But this is my 100% speculation. This is not fact. This is just me speculating. Is that we might even get it either before or after E3.
Okay, that would be cool.
That would be cool. But then again, the summer is kind of filled with a lot of Switch games. So they might bring it out a bit later or they might bring it out a bit sooner. I don't know. But yeah, Link's Awakening. Oh my god, that game. So good. It's so nice to finally see that game getting its due.
Nice.
All right.
Is there any last mention you want to do? I saw Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on there, something with Super Smash.
Looks good. The Super Smash Spring update coming before the end of April, they said, but they didn't say anything. So, yeah. Like, they showed a little bit of Joker, like the back of Joker, the character model that's going to be in Smash, and like, that's it. I mean, the fangirls were probably, like, completely squeeing about that one, but, yeah. So, I mean, there are, like, a bunch of other games, like Deltarune getting announced for, like, Switch. I actually bought Undertale finally on Switch, but we're gonna talk about it later in what you've been playing. So, yeah, like a bunch of other games. Unravel 2 is coming to Switch. Rune Factory 4, the port of that, and Rune Factory 5. A new game from the guys that made I Am Setsuna called Oninaki, which looks interesting. Grid that you talked about, updates to like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, like just like a ton of games that just got announced in 35 minutes. It's just crazy.
I have to say, it's like a nice blend of a bit of third-party support and a nice blend of like first-party or second-party exclusive stuff. So this is like a lineup which is like, and I don't know a lot about it, but this is a nice lineup to see because it has a good mix. It's not just Nintendo stuff.
No,
It's
true.
like enough
Yeah.
variation for all players.
And let's not forget, before the Direct in January, we had a lot of Shadow Drop announcements of a lot of indie titles and third-party games coming to Switch. So, like I said, the direct way of how Nintendo does things just means that you're gonna get a lot of announcements throughout the year. So we don't know when the next one is gonna drop on us. Hopefully, with enough time for us to prepare for it, like we did this time. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, you'll be looking forward to them in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. That's it for this one. We'll be back after the short break. Stay with us.
All right. See ya.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody, to our second segment. We're gonna do a bit of a combo here with our What You Playing and Hidden Gem in one. I believe I can't remember. Did I start it off last week or did you start it off last
I
week? I thought I started it off,
I
right?
think you did.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Well,
start
this
off now?
week I'll just give it to the stage to you this week, and then I'll take it from there.
Okay, because I got a lot to talk about. So let's keep.
Well,
Uh,
I'm gonna put 15 minutes on the clock, and your time starts now.
all right. So with the direct and with the shadow drops that we got, of course, I had to check out the demos that were brought out. So the first thing that I checked out was Yoshi's Crafted World, which is, from what I've heard, a Nintendo game that has been built in Unreal Engine 4. Yeah,
Ooh,
I mean,
that's
the
nice. I didn't
developer
know
isn't
that.
Nintendo themselves. The developer is Goodfeel, but it is running in Unreal Engine 4, and it's running at a brisk 60 frames per second. So that is very nice.
Let me just quickly look that one up. I wonder, does it look
Yeah,
nice?
it really looks like. Here's the thing: video kind of doesn't do it justice. You have to see it on your own TV screen or on the Switch because it looks so tangible. Like everything looks like a real world object that was recreated in 3D. And the lighting and everything, it looks really nice. And the gameplay is, well, the gameplay is really straightforward, but it adds a little bit of a twist in that it is essentially a 2D platformer, but you can also shoot your eggs in the depth. So you can shoot it towards the screen, or let me rephrase that. You can shoot it towards any object that is interactable in the foreground or in the background. So as long as it's something that you can interact with your eggs, you can target that and shoot at it, which is really cool because now you kind of have like this pseudo 3D kind of effect going on in the gameplay. You have uh, Yoshi looking like the most adorable little felt stuffed animal, which I want. I actually do own the Yoshi Woolly World amiibo, which has actually been like crocheted, which looks really nice and feels really squishy and soft. Um,
I have to say, it looks really nice. I
yeah,
didn't expect
yeah,
that.
it looks really nice, and like people are like, oh, but it looks like a baby game. Blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. A lot of effort went into making that game, look the way it does. That is not something that
Yeah,
happens
it looks
overnight.
really nice.
It really looks like someone like painstakingly crafted this diorama and they just turned it
Yeah,
3D, which is really cool. And like
nice.
the gameplay is nice. It's not fast or anything. It's really mellow. And if you have kids and they're starting to learn to like platform, you have the mellow mode so that they can also play along without like dying or anything. Like there's not even like you can't die in Yoshi's Woolly World. I mean Crafter World anyways. Same goes for Woolly World. You just lose all your hearts and like that's it. It just affects your high score, nothing more.
No,
At
that's
least for
nice.
the level. So like if you want to do like a completionist run, you have to make sure that you don't get hit and stuff like that. But honestly, it's not that hard. I do know from experience that Yoshi's Woolly World got harder with each and every world that you went to. So here's hoping that that's the case here. The demo only had one level, but it had like two sides to it. One is the regular level, the other is the speed running level. So
Did the demo have a tutorial, or did they skip on
no,
that?
that no, I'm like, it's a Nintendo game. Of course, it had a tutorial, but it was very simple and straightforward, and you don't have to access it if you want to, because it's optional.
I'm just
The,
asking because like you and Anthem. I mean, like,
no, but that
kind of hurts, I believe, but
no,
still, like,
but that was
left a mark
but that was
there.
just. I'm sorry. I still say that that was bad. I still did that. Like from a enthusiast aspect, that was kind of really bad. But yeah, I mean Yoshi. Of course, Yoshi's Crafted World had tutorial, but I've been playing Yoshi games for 20 years, so kind of already
Damn.
figured out. There is one thing that they kind of messed up with, which is the button layout, because the default button layout is just awful. Basically, what you had was you had jump where you normally use to throw eggs. You had throwing eggs at grabbing like enemies, and grabbing enemies, the button did something completely different, which just playing through it through the default button layout was a Herculean task because I kept making mental mistakes because in my mind I'm playing a Nintendo platformer and Nintendo platformers always have the same button layout, which is why it's uniform and easy to jump into, but this one didn't. I mean, even yesterday I was playing with one of our colleagues at work during lunch break, and she was like, "Oh, how am I supposed to like jump again, and how am I supposed to use my tongue and like throw items?" So I changed it to what it's supposed to be, and suddenly she was instantly playing it way better. And this is
Oh, so
and
you
this
can't
was
change
from
the
someone who
controls.
doesn't play video games.
Okay.
So
Well, you can change the
you can
controls
change
then.
the controls. Thank the goodness you can change the controls. Seriously, because if
That's
that
good to
if that
know.
was the default and that was the only way you could play the game, I think that game would just not work. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, Yoshi's really sorry, I keep making the same mistakes. Yoshi's Crafted World, a demo worth checking out, and the game is coming out at the end of March. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah, March 24th. So that's like around the corner. So that's
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 nice.
cool. The other thing that I've been playing is the Demon Ex Machina prototype, which, as I said before, was good. It had the tutorial, very simple, laid out
Yay!
how the controls worked, and from then on, you had tutorial missions to explain like what kind of mission types you had, and it ends with the boss battle, which I haven't beaten yet because the boss has like this impossible like HP level, and I keep throwing everything at this guy, and he just won't die. It's like this really giant big backhoe with like spider legs and everything, and it shoots lasers at you, and then it when you finally get to the point where like you've disabled all the cannons on its legs, it starts being like, "Oh, you're gonna be like that? You think you can take me? Well, bam, instant shield that like takes away a quarter of your health." And they have
Is it co-op or can you play it in co-op?
the demo is not co-op, but I believe that they said
Okay.
that they have online elements in it, like playing online with other people.
Yeah, because I can remember from the direct that they said you could play with your friends against it because you saw
Exactly.
like multiple
Yeah,
players.
but
I was
but
wondering maybe
that's not
that's
in
the
the
reason.
demo right now.
Okay.
You can to a certain extent customize your character, so have them look different. You
Oh,
can
that's nice.
upgrade your character. You can level them up. During battles, you when you destroy enemies, they drop weapons and armor, which you can pick up and use that after you complete the mission. You can like attach it, have better weapons that way. You can modify your mech to look awesome. So I'm actually really, but it looks cool. It plays cool. The frame rate is for the most part okay, except for with the boss. Sometimes it kind of dips, especially when he basically goes all he basically goes all uh what was that anime called again? He goes all Macross on you and shoots all his missiles against you.
Okay.
Then the frame rate starts to chug a bit, but I think that is bit because it's a beta. Um, Also another game running on Unreal Engine 4, by the way,
Oh, that's I didn't know that. That's
and
nice.
it's all like cell shaded graphics, and it looks really nice. Like it really looks nice. It's still, I mean, it is a I don't know if I should say it the way I'm gonna say it right now because I feel like I'm gonna regret it and I might piss some people off. But the animations are so like a Japanese developer animation. Like they're kind of, at least for the character animation, they're kind of stiff, but it works for the mechs because they're mechs. You really feel
Yeah.
You really feel the weight of your mech when you're hovering or boosting around, which also, by the way, it's really fun to boost around in the mechs. Um, and when you're on foot, you're basically powerless. I mean, I know that
Yeah, because can you get out of the Mac in the demo?
you you can get out of the mech, but not. I haven't tried getting out of the mech voluntarily.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can do that. But if your mech takes too much damage, you do have to jettison out of there before it explodes, so that
Okay.
you can go on foot. But at that point, you have like a pea shooter that you can charge up, and yeah. And the last thing
Okay.
that I played is Undertale. So, like I said before, they also shadow dropped Deltarune, or at least the pre-order for Deltarune, which is coming out the 28th of this month. And I haven't played Undertale yet. I have it on PC, and I started and I played for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, I don't get it. But now I want to play Deltarune because people have been talking about Undertale for like years and years and how great that is, especially if you're like what do you call it again? If you're a Earthbound fan, then Undertale is like for you in terms of like RPGs, and it kind of is because the battle system is really weird. And right now I'm playing basically passive road, so I'm not attacking anything, and I'm just sparing all the enemies, which is a lot. It's not as hard as I thought it would be, but the story is like really weird. The characters are really fun. There's like this skeleton that tries to catch you, and then you end up befriending him, which is really hilarious because he's like, I'm gonna catch you, girl, but you know that he doesn't want to catch you anyways. And yeah, like the story is weird, it's whimsical, the gameplay is weird and whimsical, and that's kind of that's kind of what I can say. It looks like an 8-bit RPG JRPG. So if you haven't checked
Yeah, I
out,
hadn't seen this game before. I just checked it out. It
it's
looks
on
funny.
PS4. So if you want to check it out, hey,
Yeah, and it's also on the Vita
yeah.
apparently.
So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
that's what.
Those are your what you're playing games right
Yeah,
now?
those are the things that I've been playing. I mean, I played a little bit of Apex Legend when it came out, but like literally for like an
Mm-hmm.
hour. I really want to try and give it a fair shake, but I think I need to partner up with you for that because I playing with randoms is weird.
Yeah. And what is your hidden gem for this week?
My hidden gem for this week, very briefly, is a game that I bought when I went to the States for the first time in 2005, which is Custom Robo for the GameCube. Not a lot of people know about Custom Robo. It is a robot battling game. It's kind of like um it's kind of like if you took Gundam and made it a
Oh, I
minute
love Gundam.
and you made it a miniature battler in like a battle arena like Power Stone.
Okay.
So you have your robot that you can customize with weapons and armor, and then you go into a 4-player battle arena and you duke it out, and last man standing wins, basically. But you have to make sure that your loadout is good, and that your loadout works against your opponent. Otherwise, you'll just hand them the victory. Yeah,
Nice. And why is it your hidden gem?
because it's one of those few games that wouldn't exist without Smash Brothers Melee, because they had trophies in Smash Brothers Melee, which had those characters in it with the description of it of the original game that came out on the N64, but only in Japan. So a lot of people are like with Fire Emblem, like, ooh, this looks cool. Why didn't this come out in the West? And they finally brought it out, at least in the US, the GameCube version, and they haven't brought a game out since. So I'm kind of hoping that people listening to this, if you have a GameCube and if you have a means to play American titles, or if you have an American GameCube or an American Wii, um, pick it up. It's worth it. Like honestly, it is worth it. It is made by the same guys that did the Pokemon RPGs on GameCube. So, at least there is some pedigree to their RPG ness in there. So that's definitely a worth at least worth checking out, and hopefully Nintendo will be like, okay, let's try it again. Let's bring out a new custom Robo for Switch. Like make it even if they make it a download title, that's fine. I feel like we need more custom Robo in our lives.
I'm just looking it up. It kind of reminds me of Power Rangers when they assembled into the big robot and a mix of Gundam. It looks nice.
Yeah, it looks nice, at least for a GameCube game.
I wouldn't have expect this to come to the Switch. I honestly don't understand why this isn't available on the Switch.
Yeah, it's the same reason why people keep wondering why the hell there's no F-Zero since the last one. So
Yeah, I remember those games from back in the day. Those were also nice.
yeah, who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing. I'll give it my go. I've been kind of playing the same stuff. I've been playing a bit more Apex Legends.
Mm.
Um,
Wait,
the funny thing about
what have you been playing that one on?
Yeah, I've been playing a mix. I've been playing it on PlayStation and on PC, and I still just can't get used to it because, like, it feels for some strange reason I like it more on the PlayStation than I like it on the PC. I don't know why. Whereas I'm used to playing on my PC because I'm playing Battlefield as well in
Yeah.
between. And then I'm playing that specifically on the PC. So I'm kind of I don't know. I've had days that I've played on the PC. I've had days that I've played on the PlayStation, and I've enjoyed it more on the PlayStation. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because less hardcore. I don't know. Um, they brought out a few updates to fix a few things. There are stories going around now that characters and weapons have been data mined, so that there's new content coming in. So I'm curious to see about that.
Oh, that's obvious.
Um, yeah.
I mean,
Besides
obvious,
Apex,
logical. That's it's logical.
yeah, yeah. And besides Apex, I've been playing some Battlefield. Dice has been bringing out a few patches again. They are
Where's
like
the
Battlefield is going in a good
where's
direction.
their battle royale coming from? Huh?
Firestorm is hopefully coming out in March as they promised us before launch. Yay! And to be honest, I am actually looking forward to Firestorm because I like Battlefield. I'm okay at Battlefield because yeah, I can just when I play, my kill death ratio is okay, and we generally end up in the top five, so that's okay. And like Firestorm, I think it'll bring like a fresh look at Battlefield. They also brought out the combined arms co-op mode. You can play that with four
Yeah.
players. The reception hasn't been that great. I played one mission and it was a kind of a strange mission because it didn't feel really hard. The stories I've been seeing online is that
could you elaborate on what it's supposed to be?
yeah, so like I've only played one mission, but Combined Arms is either you can play it alone or you can play it with up to four people in co-op, and you just have to do certain missions. I played the market mission, which is in Rotterdam,
Mhm.
and I played it by myself. And then you had to kill 20 enemies, and then you had to extract. That was basically my mission, which is really strange. And you can pick your class and you can customize your weapons. Your classes and your customization and your progress from the multiplayer transfers over. So I, for example, just chose my medic, which with my favorite gun, and then customization options. But it's strange that it just felt so simple. And I don't know if it gets harder if you play it with more people. I know that there are difficulties to select. I just played it on normal, but it feels so, I don't know, it doesn't really fit into the Battlefield universe or into the Battlefield. Like it doesn't make sense to have a mode like this in there. And the mode's being developed by a different team because they have multiple teams developing multiple features or modes simultaneously.
Mm.
So they were working on this before the game came out. It's just that yeah, doesn't really make sense to have a mode like this. I don't know. Yeah, we'll maybe have to play with some other people to get a better look at it. But I was kind of disappointed because it looked like a new original mode, and then I played it and I'm like, man, okay. After like 2 or 3 rounds, I just quit and thought I'll just go back to multiplayer. So I was kind of bummed about that.
Yeah. Well, that sounds disappointing.
Yeah,
But
and
then here
yeah.
comes the integrate. So I'm assuming that people are still playing multiplayer on Battlefield 5, like at least at a level where you can always find a match.
Um, yes, but
Oh boy.
and that's an issue I've had with Battlefield like since day one, is that I always use the server browser to pick my custom servers because there are like specific maps I want to play. There are a few maps in there I just don't like, and they don't do rental servers now, so you can't have like custom servers running the same mode. I remember with Battlefield 4, you can just play. You could play. Still, you can play like Siege of Shanghai, which is one of the popular maps,
Hmm.
24/7 conquest. It just keeps on going with specific rules like no RPGs or no grenades or stuff like that. And those options aren't available in this Battlefield game. So like when I go to the server browser option, it either doesn't show me enough servers, it either shows me servers that are full, so I'm always in a queue, or it shows me servers that are empty.
Yeah.
So I usually have to pick the quick join option, and then it's just like a mystery in which map I will be deployed. But even then, there it takes a while to get into a match. Whereas EA has announced that there are a lot of players playing it. I just don't know if their matchmaking isn't up to it or not.
Okay. I mean, well, that depends, right? I mean, if they like, what is it based on? Is it based on worldwide? Like, are the service world? I'm assuming that the servers aren't worldwide because that would be weird. Uh,
You can choose it. Like I've filtered it on regional. I've said I want to play in European servers, but
yeah.
you can participate in US servers or Asia servers. Um, but for example, in the server browser, it's not as much as I would have wanted. It's strange. It doesn't. Yeah, I didn't play Battlefield 1 on PC. I played that on PlayStation, and I used the same quick join feature there, and it was generally super fast there. So I'm a bit surprised with this one.
Okay, then I'm curious to see what happens in March because if that mode launches and there's not enough people to support it or even get a match starting, then what are you gonna do?
Uh,
Like the only thing I can
well,
imagine right now is like if they decide to rip that part out of the game and make it free to play. Kind of like they did with Fortnite. I
could
mean,
be.
Fortnite
Yeah,
did the
that could
same
be.
thing, right? Because you have the save the world mode and you have the battle royale mode, and the battle royale mode is the only free part. It's also the only thing that is available on like mobile and Switch, right? Because you don't have the
Yeah.
save the world feature is not on Switch at
You know
all.
what the funny part is about Save the World? When they first announced Fortnite, they said that Save the World would be free. So like it would come out the year after and it would be free. And then a year passed and they said, yeah, we're gonna bring it out next year and it's gonna be free. But if you want, you can get like an early access. And then they brought out the Battle Royale, which was free to play, and it like took on a life of its own. And I believe people still have to pay for Save the World. Now, Save the World isn't that great because I've seen reviews, but it's funny that they like initially promised that it was going to be a free mode, and people still have to pay to play that mode. And that's kind of strange because it's also a co-op mode, a horde mode esque
Yeah.
something. I haven't really played it, but it kind of looks something that you would want to play with your friends. But yeah,
Mm. Well, we'll see.
my last game I'm playing right now is Anthem. I bought a month of EA Access Premier or whatever it's called, like the $15, and you can then play the game as much as you want instead of the 10 hours you can play if you pay the cheaper one. Um, I've and this is funny because I didn't know this, but I complained about the controls on PC, and
Yeah.
I'm playing this on
Yeah.
PC. And so the other day I had like a epiphany in which I thought like I know that there is a way to plug in my PlayStation controller and then download a program and then use my PlayStation controller on the PC. So I asked a friend of mine who was like an Xbox fanboy or he knows everything about Microsoft. So I was like, "Hey man, if I plug in my Xbox One controller, will it work on my PC?" And he looked at me. He's like, "Really? Are you seriously asking me these questions?" I said, "Well, I don't know. You know, I've never done this. So, yeah, can I?" He said, "Of course you can. And probably when you plug it in, the game will automatically identify the controller and have its own PC controllers for the keys." And I'm like,
How did
"Oh,
you
that's
not
cool."
know
So
this?
I don't know. I've
Dude,
never used a
Microsoft has
controller
been
on a
doing this
PC.
since
Why would
Xbox
I?
360. I use my
I know,
like
but
when I play on my PC, it's the Xbox 360 controller I'm using. I'm not like
I've never
with
used a
some
controller on the
exceptions.
PC.
I always use my Xbox 360 controller on my PC.
But like I never had a reason to do it because I always use a mouse and keyboard on PC, and this is one of those first moments in where I thought, "Yo, this control scheme sucks." But anyways, it really plays
Uh
nice with
huh.
an Xbox controller.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I canceled my PlayStation pre-order for Anthem, and has multiple reasons. The first reason is like, hey, I'm fine with paying $15 and then playing Anthem for a month and then finding out if the game will stick or not.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing that I had with Destiny 2. I bought Destiny 2 on PlayStation, and after the first month, I didn't touch that game anymore because there wasn't enough to do after the game's launch. Um, People are starting to hit that level cap now. I'm not there yet. I'm level 12, I believe, and there are like 30 levels.
Running Anthem?
Um, yeah, so
Really? People are already hitting the
um,
level cap?
I played the other day and there were people that were level 26, 27, and apparently you can finish the story at around level 26, 27.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. People
I
are.
was getting to that point that we're like, okay, I'm glad I canceled my pre-order and I just paid $15 to see if I'm gonna play this in a month.
Yeah.
The second part is like, yeah, friends of mine only bought it on the PC, so indirectly you're forced to play it on the PC as well if you want to play with them as well. And yeah, yeah, from a PC point of view, the graphics are nicer on the PC, so I can just run it nicely. There is a tutorial in there. It is a pretty clear and explanatory tutorial at the beginning.
Really?
I
Is
like
there
that.
now?
To be honest, I like the game. It doesn't match up the hype that it's getting for me,
Hmm.
but it feels solid. There's still a day one patch that's gonna come out on launch day because the game hasn't officially released. So the 22nd, this Friday, there's gonna be a day one patch, which is gonna improve a few
Yeah.
things. So we'll have to wait for that. Um, I like it so far, but what I am doing is that I'm playing the game by myself deliberately instead of playing it on the with friends because I mentioned this before that with these kind of games I kind of miss out on the story because you're doing so much and people are talking into your ear
Yeah.
and then the game's dialogue's also running. So um, I choose deliberately to not play it with friends so I can at least get to know the story and know what's happening. And the fun part about this is you get matched made into every mode or every stuff you thing you do. So you're playing with four people. You just can't communicate with those four people if you don't want to, which I don't. So at least I can get to know the story. And after this, we'll just have to see. Um, so yeah, so I have mixed feelings about it. I'll just have to play it a bit more. I like where it's going. I just don't have that. Oh my god, this is something I've been waiting for 2 years for, and it's matching that, and it's not that. It's like, okay, yeah, I really like this game, and I've been waiting for it, and there's nothing else to play, so I need something to bridge the gap till I get to the division, which we'll talk into about a bit.
Well, that's a
Um,
down to earth response. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, moving on to my hidden gem. My hidden gem is Sleeping Dogs. I don't know if you ever played the game.
I did. I have it on Steam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the
No,
what I
no, I
love,
have it on
yeah.
Steam and I have it on PlayStation Plus. I think I
Okay,
played.
so I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So Sleeping Dogs is the only game that I bought on the PC, that I bought on the PlayStation 3, and that I also bought on the PlayStation 4. And I love that game because
Did you
it's
pay full price
diverse.
for it 3 times?
No, I just bought them all three when they were in discount.
Oh, okay. That that's
Yeah,
that, that
but like
that's
I bought the game on three
that's
platforms.
slightly more redeemable. Because if you bought them all
Yeah.
three at full price, I would just be like, okay, like this session is over.
But what I love about what the game is basically around is you play as a undercover cop, which is called Wei Shen,
Mm.
and your mission is to infiltrate a triad organization in Hong Kong, and a few of those people you know from when you were a child. You in the game you find out that like you moved to America when you were little, and then you moved back eventually, and stuff happened, and you're now a cop and you need to infiltrate your childhood friends' gang, to put it that
Yeah.
way. Um, the game was initially going to be part of the True Crime
Yeah, from the True Crime
franchise,
franchise.
which
Yeah, that
yeah, and
that
eventually
that
spinned it off into their
that
own.
that game has like the probably one of the more interesting histories of like in terms of development, how it came to be, how it eventually became Sleeping
Yeah,
Dogs. It's really interesting. I think there is. I mean, that there's multiple articles about it and like YouTube videos about it. You should totally look it up because it is interesting. And here's the crazy part: the game's good.
I love the game. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought it three times. It also has a good voice cast. There are some pretty famous people in the game. I believe that Emma Stone is one of the voice actors in the game,
Yeah.
and the main character is also a known actor. And there's a police commissioner, which is I forget his name. He plays Carmine Falcone in the Dark Knight trilogy, which is he's also like a famous British actor, I believe. So they have a good voice cast, and there's a lot of stuff to do. The environment is varied. The funny part is it's more of a martial arts free roaming open
Yeah.
game than like a shooter, because yes, you can pick up weapons and shoot with them, but it's more focused on the
On the
call it
brawling. Yeah.
yeah, on the brawling, on the martial arts, and there's a deep system behind it. You can discover new moves, and there are RPG mechanics in it.
It
There's some free running in
kind of
it.
feels like it kind of feels like Yakuza. Like if you've
Yeah,
played
yeah,
it,
Yakuza on
if you've
steroids.
it's exactly that. Minus the transitions because the enemies are roaming and like there's no transitions. Like
Yeah,
if you fight, you fight. The visuals are really nice, especially if you like if I keep saying like especially if you go, for example, to the market. Market looks really lived in and gringy and like shady stuff is going on all the time, which it probably is. And it is a really pretty game. It's a really pretty game. The
yeah,
gameplay is really fun. Like just the brawling in it, the running feels good. It's a solid game. It's just a shame that it it had multiple shots to get the recognition that it deserves, and I feel like it didn't because people had weird expectations for it, and also again because of the history behind it. So I feel that that game needs a like I agree with you. It is totally a hidden game. It is a hidden gem, and it totally needs its shot in the sunlight.
definitely. Like the, the unfortunate thing is there were plans for a sequel, and then instead of doing that, they kind of made off a spin-off multiplayer game called Triad Wars.
Yeah, I heard about
But
that.
the game never really actually came out. It was more of a, it was in a beta state, and you could play it, and eventually it got canceled in 2015. So which is, yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because if they if they maybe didn't do the multiplayer stuff and actually worked on a second game, I think that would have been better. I still have hopes that they're going to do a second game, because it really was a good game.
Yeah, yeah, it was totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, that's it for me right now. Do you have anything, any final words?
I think we're good. Let's take a quick break. Have people catch their breaths of all those awesome games that we talked about, and let's regroup for the third segment.
Cool. We'll be right back after this. Cool. Welcome back, everybody, to our last segment. In this segment, we're going to talk about my impressions of the Division 2 beta. Did you get a chance to play it, Max?
Yeah. So you were so kind enough to send me a invite for the Division 2 beta, the closed beta, and what ended up happening is I requested the code, and it took them like 2 days to finally get me the code. And when I finally got the code, I had to
Oh,
work. And the next day, I was at my parents because it was my dad's birthday.
happy
So I
birthday,
had like zero
Maximilian's
time to
dad.
actually Thanks. So I had like zero time to even try and play it. By the time I got home, the beta was
Ah, that
over.
sucks.
So no, I haven't been able to play
Okay.
it.
Well, at least I put in a lot of hours, so we can at least talk a bit about that.
Yeah. So how was it?
Um, did you play the first division?
No,
Okay.
no, I have yet to play the first division, but I might. I don't know. I might still pick it up because now it's like on Steam, like for like on sale constantly for like $10. So I might have to try and pick it up
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. So for
But
like
yeah,
the people that don't
how
know,
like I get what like I get what the division was about from like the previews and the reviews and like
okay.
people playing online and playing and like watching stuff on live
Okay, it's
streaming.
good like that
So
way. Okay.
I know what it's about.
Yeah, so in
Yeah.
in the Division 2, you play in Washington D.C. I believe it's a few months after the events in the first division. The first was in New York in the winter, and now we're in
Yeah.
Washington D.C. The government has collapsed, and um, like it's total
Most likely.
chaos. It's a bit more. I believe it's in the summer this time around, and
Mm.
you start again with your division agents that are trying to save humanity or restore order to the country. Um, I play. There were like a few main missions and a few side missions you could play, and my initial impressions, like from the start, was that the game looked better than the first one because there's more variety in the environment. There's like forest like stuff like that. Like there's greeneries everywhere instead of just snow, 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 or yellow bags or whatever. Like you have more of an idea that there's more life on the streets. You didn't have really have that idea in the first division. So when walking,
It's more
yeah,
varied.
there's more to do, and
Yeah.
the world's more alive. One of the first missions you get to play is that the White House is under attack, and you need to fend off an attack of the White House. And then when you do that, the White House becomes your base of operations, as they call it. So
And then you become the president of the United
yes, then you've
States.
seized power, and you're and it was all part of your plan. But so you fend off the attack, and then it becomes your base of operations, and there you have like your vendors, and you can get
Mm.
missions from there, and you can upgrade it. So like it has some progression there as well. And then this time around, you have things called settlements, which are like mini base of operations in a way. So there's one called the theater, and then you go there and you get missions there, and then when you complete certain missions, you can recruit people from there, which will go to your base of operations and enable certain features. Like when I completed one of the missions in a theater, I recruited a person that allowed me to craft items, so I could craft
Oh,
weapons
cool.
or I could craft attachments, and like they've completely revamped the game this time around. It's a lot better than the first one because in the first one you had like attachments you could put on your weapons, and then those attachments would have different kind of stats. But
Yeah.
then, for example, what I would often do is when I got a new weapon which was better, I would just take off all the attachments of the previous one and put them on this one, and it was kind of a hassle. And now they've made it more simple. So like attachments have pros and cons, to put it that way. So they're like a buff and a debuff, and then
Yeah.
you can use one attachment on multiple weapons. So it's not like, oh, I have it once and I could put it on one weapon. So that's kind of nice. So like you can unlock a grip or
Mm.
craft a grip
That's
and use it on 10 weapons if you like, which makes it easier.
okay.
You
Cool.
can, yeah, you can
Convenient.
vary more between your weapons, because in the first one I would just stick to two weapons or like specific weapons, and now I've played with a variety of weapons. Same goes for armor, for example. They completely revamped armor. In the previous one, you had like you just had your health bar, and then armor would mitigate damage. And now you actually have
Mm.
like your health bar, and on top of that, you have these small squares, which are your armor plates. And if your armor gets damaged, you have to swap out the plates to get your armor back. That's
Oh.
kind of cool. So that works as your.
Is that like is that instant when you do that, or is there an animation attached to
There
it?
is an animation attached to that. So you have to keep one of the good. I believe it's R3. You have to keep a button pressed, and then in a few seconds it pulls out his armor plates. It grabs a new plate from his backpack and it shoves them back into his vest, and then you see your armor
Mm.
bar regenerating. So that's kind of cool, and it kind of works as your health pack. So you don't have health packs anymore. You have these armor plates you can pick up. So that's.
So what happens to your health when that starts to decrease, or is it, or your basically your character's not like a bullet sponge? I'm assuming. So basically, when all your health plates are gone, then
Yeah,
that's
so
it.
when the
Then it's bullet. It's just like
when the
game
armor
over.
plates, like when that bar is depleted, it starts to bite into your health, and your health, like, it drops really quick because it's like the bullets are tearing through your flesh, to put it that way. So you can die really easily that way. So that's why you have those armor
Yeah.
plates. So that's
All right.
cool, and it's funny that you should mention bullet sponginess, because in the first division, the big criticism was that a lot of the enemies were bullet spongy. You would like have to empty clips and clips and clips or magazines into enemies before they would die, and they've really have improved that this time. So there's like enemies aren't really bullet spongy this time, and You have,
Okay, that's good
yeah,
to
and
hear.
you have like elite enemies which um, are a bit more bullet spongy, but they kind of explain it because they have like armor plating. So if you shoot at, for example, their chest long enough, their armor plating breaks, and then you can rip through them, and then you certainly see their health dropping. So like it has a more of an explanation behind it, and it makes more sense. Like, okay, hey, if he has armor, it's normal that it's going to take a bit more shots than normal. So they really did well on that. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. What else? What else? The
So I, at least from E3, they had this demo where they were showing off the, I guess what you would call a morality, like a morality system style thing, where you could go either or way, and that expands on the storyline on how that goes and how people will interact with you and how the environment changes around you. Is that something that was visible in the beta?
I didn't really notice anything about that. So, um,
Or at least were there missions that you could see, like, oh, if I do this, let's see what happens when I do this, or um like, did it pose any like morality choices for you during mission?
no, not really. Not that I could remember. Like it was pretty black and white. So you could just like they would just give you a mission, say, "Hey, go do this," and then you would just go there and do that. It's not really that you had any choices, which is kind of bummer because it would have been nice to have those. But from what I
Mhm.
could see in the beta, it's like pretty straightforward, black and white. You need to do this, go there, do this. But the fun part was is that because the world's more alive, where while I was on route to a certain area to do a mission, I would find these world events, to put it that way, such as an execution or hostages being taken, or propaganda speakers you needed to turn off, or um, I don't know if they're called
Oh yeah.
strongholds, but there were like these enemy occupied. So you have to see this like the map is divided up in zones, and every zone has minor, small missions in those zones besides the side and main
Yeah.
missions. And there's also like a stronghold ish stuff, which is generally occupied by the enemy. So you'd have to retake that.
Hmm.
And if you've done all those things, and you also get your you would have your shade tech, as they call it, which is like which is like a currency you need to upgrade certain skills or to unlock certain skills. You would have to do
Hmm.
like stuff in those zones to take that zone over, and then you would get like a mini settlement in that zone, and that settlement also needed upkeep, so it needs like food and water and components. So it's more like that you're actually, it feels more that you're rebuilding the world instead of just
Yeah.
doing a mission. And I would generally get a lot of distracted between those things, and I would just do those smaller things and just like kind of see the progress instead of just walk to my mission, do my mission, and it's like, oh yeah, it's on to the next mission. And even when you explore, for example, I had a few moments in where I just thought like, let me just branch off the path here. Let me just explore a bit. I would go into certain areas. I would just go underground, or I would go in this abandoned base, and I would find new weapons. So like, there's a lot to do in this one, and compared to the last one, there's more of variety, more freedom, and you get rewarded for your curiosity a bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how's the gameplay feeling? So, does it feel the same as it did in Division, in the original Division, or like did they tighten up some mechanics? Did they change
Yeah.
mechanics?
So some of the things they did was that they made more refinements to certain systems. Like in the previous one, you had skills you could assign to your shoulder buttons. So you could, for example, have a like a secret grenade. You could just normally drop it, and then it would automatically search out a target and then blow up in that person's face. So now, for example,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and now you can, for example, you can drop the secret mine next to you, and you can just look at an enemy, and you could say, you know what, I want you to hit the one in front of me. And then you would just hit R1, and then the secret mine would hit him instead of just a random enemy. Um,
Oh,
and yeah,
nice.
and you could, for example, you have a drone that can heal you. But if you're playing together with friends, you can also say, you know what, go heal my friend, and it would just fly over and heal him. You can also upgrade these skills. So, for example, the grenade had like an air burst, so it would just go towards an enemy, and then it would just shoot up these like incendiary rounds, and then a whole area would be on fire. So you can also upgrade those.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
snap.
that's pretty nice. And then also like with the skills, you have these like these minor skills such as carrying an extra weapon or carrying more ammo or carrying more armor plates that you can unlock with shade tech, which is kind of the currency. In the first division you had these same sort of skills, but you didn't really notice the impact of these skills. And now you can like
Hmm.
specifically choose like, okay, I want this skill first because I'll need a second gun, or I want to have more LMG ammo on me. Okay, let me pick this skill. So those skills make a more of a difference. You actually feel the impact that it's having. Um, as
Okay.
for combat mechanics, they've like made it easier. There's an option to turn on like I believe the free running, so that you don't have to. When you run towards an object, you can press X, I believe, and then you enter into cover. And then when you want to run over it, you have a different button. But when you're, for example, running in a direction and you would just want to jump over all the objects, you have to press buttons. And now you can like turn on an option that it automatically does that for you, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
really cool.
and they also expanded like more of the end game. So when you reach level 30, you have a specialization, as they call it. So you can either specialize in a ranged character, and then you get this big ass Barrett 50 cal super strong sniper rifle, or you can get a grenade launcher, or you can get a crossbow. So there's like certain specializations you can branch out into, which will affect the end game as well. And you could also play the end game in this one. So you had like a few missions that you could rank up to level 7, I believe. But you could
Yeah.
also switch out to a level 30 character, which is with a specialization, and then do an end game mission, so you can get a feel of how that was, which was really nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So, I know that in Division One you had these raid-like events called the Dark
Yeah.
Zones. Was that in the closed beta
Yeah,
as
you
well?
had one dark zone you can go into, and then one of the like with this division they've said like, oh, I think they're gonna bring a package to my door, so I might have to like be right back.
Okay, so let's pause this
Cool.
real quick, and we'll be right back, people.
So thank you everybody for hanging in with us there. I just had a package that was dropped off, so I had to unfortunately take that in. So
You kind of
thanks.
didn't need to say that, man. I could have just put in like a real quick thing in there, and there's like, bing, done, right?
Oh yeah, well, at least now people know that I take packages. Yay!
Yes, send all your packaging needs to SeanTemplar at SeanTemplar.com.
Worldwide shipping in 24 hours. So anyway, we were talking about the Dark Zone, I believe, in the division.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, so what they've done this time around is that there are three Dark Zones, and one of the dark zone gets invaded every week, or occupied every week as they call it.
Hmm.
And then there's no normalization being applied, because now when you enter the dark zone in a normal one, all your gear gets normalized,
Yeah.
so there's no difference. And then you can still go rogue, and the rogue mechanic is that you can start to decide to make it like a PvP environment. And they've also added rogue benefits this time. There's like a rogue thieves den, something like that, which I encountered. And then the more rogue activities you perform, the higher your rogue counter, as in the time, became. And then you would get access to this thieves den, where you could find gear. In the beta's case, I think there wasn't a lot of gear. There was like one small box, and I really couldn't get anything from that.
Hmm.
But they said that in the full game, they're gonna offer like rewards for when you go into this den. As for the invaded dark zone or the occupied one, their normalization is turned off. So then your gear stats really start to play in and count with the game. So then it really becomes a bit more like the Division 1. There are also more tougher enemies there, I understood, because when you reach the level cap, there is a faction called the Black Tusk, I believe, which is kind of like the battalion one from the first division, which invades the game, so you can play the missions again, but then with a difficult faction.
Hmm.
And then there's a bit more variety and stuff in the missions as well, because they have, for example, these unmanned drones and these unmanned hounds, which have like 50 caliber machine guns on their back. So there's a bit more difficulty in the enemies you have to encounter. They have like these EMP jammers which block your skills. So you have to change up your tactics a bit, which was really nice. And also in the Dark Zone this time you have in the previous one you had contaminated gear, so you would have to extract your gear through a helicopter and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
with this one you also have uncontaminated gear, so you can sometimes just pick up the gear and equip them directly and use them. And then the contaminated gear is a bit more higher tier, more rewardy loot, which you still have to extract.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also with Dark Zones that I noticed is like they've made it more accessible, because the when you unlock the first Dark Zone, there's more of an exploration mission. So you have to head into the Dark Zone and you get to explore the Dark Zone a bit. So you have to unlock nodes, or you have to fire up the generators. Like you have to move through certain areas to get a lay of the land. And you have to do like a mission in there to get to the full potential of that Dark Zone. So
Hmm.
that way you like gradually get into it instead of just entering the dark zone, not knowing what's going to happen and getting killed by all sorts of people. So that's kind of nice.
All right. Cool. Wow. That is a lot. Uh, one more thing before we wrap all this up. So, how many hours would you say did you spend on the closed beta?
I think 2 days. So like all in all, maybe 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that.
Okay, okay, that's pretty decent. Yeah,
Yeah, and there is a lot to do in the private beta. They also announced an open beta, which is coming out March 1st.
which I will be
Um,
attending. Well, attending. I
I
will
hope
be
you will. So
playing
maybe
it.
we can play together. What I love about this division is like they really learned from the first one, and they've said this multiple times, but they're really focusing on end game. They're saying like end game content is something that we started from day one with, instead of like doing it as an afterthought. You're also going to get 8 player raids, which wasn't a part of the first division. There you
Mm,
had incursions, which were 4 player kind of raids. So
mm,
they've said they're gonna do raids this one. Um, so that's really cool, and they're refining certain systems, but they're not afraid to like either kill certain systems from the previous one or to revamp it completely. So that's really nice to see. You know, you have a bit more variety in the weapons as well, so that makes it all in all a bit more fun of experience. Yeah, like I have this game on pre-order, um, and I don't think I'm gonna cancel this one, because like this beta really left a good impression on me. Like with the Anthem
okay.
beta, I
Yeah.
had like a mixed feeling, but
Mm.
with this one, it's like okay, this is really confirming what I thought and hoped it would be. And they said that the content's gonna be the same in the open beta, so I think I'll just jump in that one and play it all again, because it's a nice game.
Does it transfer the information from the closed beta to the open, or is it like a reset
No,
on the server? Okay, so they're
it's a
resetting the
reset on the
server.
server.
Okay, 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 okay. All
Yeah,
right. Oh, cool. It sounds exciting. For
yeah.
one, looks interesting. I really hope we'll get to play some during the public beta. There was something on my mind actually about this, and I kind of forgot now. Doesn't matter.
No, there's
Um,
unfortunately not a Switch version,
no, no,
unfortunately.
yeah, it's not. It's not that. It was something more about like yeah. So here's the thing. Like basically, what you comment with like they learned from their mistakes, which is exactly what you want from a sequel, right? You
Hmm.
want the developers to learn from like the stuff that worked and the stuff that didn't work from the first game. And it seems as though that even more so than Bungie did with Destiny 2, they are really trying to focus on the multiplayer aspects post game and trying to MMOfy it, if that is even a term. They're trying to make it more of an MMO kind of feel, at least from the way you're describing the end game content. Because with MMOs, it's not about it's not about the journey that you make to the end. it's about what comes after it, the raids, the high
Yeah.
level raids, stuff like that, the loot. That's what it's about. And if Ubisoft can pull that off with the Division 2, I think they have, like you said before in episode 1, a game that will last them for at least the next couple of years, at least until the next gen Xbox uh, console and PlayStation, next gen PlayStation comes out. So, and maybe even beyond that, who knows?
Yeah. So
If they if they play their cards right.
I've said this in like previous episodes. Like, to be honest, I think Ubisoft is the only publisher at this moment which has really nailed the live service aspect. Because, for example, the Division One still is getting weekly maintenance, and they supported the game through last year, I believe. I don't think they did anything this year as in new content, but they added a lot of content in the last few years.
Yeah.
They're doing that with their other games as well. Like For Honor is getting a lot of content. I read the other day that season 4 is starting on Rainbow Six Siege, which is kind of insane. I mean, like they're bringing out like one of those season passes every year, and people are buying them, and they're adding valuable, like good content to those games. So I think that Ubi is the only one that kind of nails this. The only issue that I've had with Ubi on all of their live service games, and I think this one might be finally the one that doesn't do that, is that they bring out the games in a semi-broken state, and then they fix the game in with patches. And it's kind of like they deliberately do it so they can kind of like win goodwill with the community by getting this feeling that like
It
they
is a
live
live game.
yeah, but I'm gonna grab Rockstar as an example as well, because like what they do is they bring it out in a state that mechanics are broken, or that you feel that the game isn't finished, and then the patches that come out fix this. Or they, for example, for the division, they had something they called the something like a task force. They would invite people from the community over up to Sweden to the studio so that they could give their feedback, so they can hear new ideas and provide feedback on that, and so could have input. And there were people that were these influential YouTubers. I hate that word, influencer. There were YouTubers that made a lot of videos about the divisions, who had like actually knew a lot about it. But there were
Yeah.
also just fans that could be flown up to Sweden, and they could provide things. So that's something they did really, really well.
Wow. Okay.
But it kind of feels like, and that's what I want to go with the Rockstar one, is that they do it to generate goodwill. So like they already have the fix. They just need to create this moment in which they look like a company that's listening. Because, for example, with when Red Dead Online came out, the you really had to grind for the resources. You really had to
Yeah.
grind to get the gold bars, and a lot of people were complaining, saying, "Hey, the price you have to pay for these weapons or unlocks are insanely high. You have to pour immense time in it, or you can just shortcut your way through it and do a microtransaction."
Yeah.
And then I read an article, and they said like, what Rockstar's probably going to do is, with the next patch that's going to come out, they're going to drop the prices of those unlocks, or they're going to reward you more, or they're going to give you more. And then what people will say is like, "Oh, they listened to us. We complained about this, and they listened to us. And look how amazing Rockstar is. They actually listened to us. We feel appreciated. We feel heard." And I feel like a lot of developers are kind of doing that, or going that way. And that's why I have this feeling, or hope at least, that the Division 2 is going to avoid this all, because they've learned from their mistakes, and it looks like it's shaping up. They said that the single player, or at least the initial campaign, is going to be between the 30 and the 40 hours, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
All right.
And then they said that the end game's going to make it even better. So we'll just have to wait and see. It comes out in March. So we'll just wait and see. We'll probably hear us more about it when it comes out.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's all the questions that I have for you in terms of the Division 2. Do you have anything? Do you have any closing arguments about Division 2?
No, like I would encourage a lot. I would encourage everyone to play it when the private or the open beta is available. I don't think you're gonna get disappointed. Try to play it with friends, because that only makes it more fun. And try to like explore all the facets from the game. Just go explore out, and just you'll know what I mean when you actually play it, and you start to notice like, hey, I mean, I'm getting rewarded for my curiosity. So just play it.
Mm, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Alrighty.
So, Uh, this has been our fourth episode of Game Rivals. I hope you all of the other Game Rivals enjoyed our banter this week. You can find us or anywhere that our podcasts are available. We are on Anchor, we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Google Podcasts. You can find the podcast is Twitter feed on at game underscore rivals underscore. You can find
Great
me.
Twitter handle.
I'm not gonna explain the Twitter handle every week, so let it go,
No, I
Sean.
know,
Let
I
it go.
know.
You
Let
can
it
find
go.
me on at Maximilian if you want to tweet at me, if you agreed with my views, if you didn't agree with my views. You can also leave us a message if you are on Anchor. So please feel free to leave a voice message for us. Maybe one of these times, if we have some messages, we'll actually address them on the podcast. We'll maybe even answer some questions if you send them our way. And I guess that's it. And until 2 weeks from now, would you take us out, Sean Templar?
Cool. Thank you, everybody, again. Enjoy your time, and we'll see you or hear you again. Bye.
Later, peoples.